Here we are with Mr. Scott Terry, musician extraordinaire. Scott's going to give us a good little lesson here on some good chicken picking pentatonic licks. Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
Hey, thanks John, I appreciate it. Just to give you a little heads up about what I'm playing a Fender Telecaster, actually an Esquire variety, which just means a Telecaster without a front pickup. Reason for leaving the front pickup out, the reason a lot of chicken pickers like these guitars is because the guitars tend to resonate a little better because you don't have the magnetic pull of the neck pickup. So you just get a really, really healthy sounding Telecaster. I'm going to play with a combination of a pick and the two middle fingers. This is techniques called hybrid picking, is what a lot of people call it in the rock field, but most country guys just call it chicken picking, or the Nashville claw, I think is another name for it. So what I'm going to do is show you how to play some licks over we'll keep it simple and go with the key of A. And just for your visualization, we have an A chord here, an A chord here, another A chord here, and the octave version of what we started with right here. And I tend to play them kind of like 5 chords with one finger. And as far as amps and effects, a lot of chicken pickers like compressors. I'm not using anything special today. I'm simply using a Line 6 amp, a little bit of overdrive, and just a hair of reverb. And that's all we got going today. Nothing fancy, no tricks up my sleeve. I didn't even so much as bring a guitar cable. I like DiMarzio cables for whatever that's worth. And I
me too.
Typically use, DiMarzio cables are great. And I use Ernie Ball strings on Telly. I think that's sort of about the best strings I've found for Telly. Brad Paisley likes them, and I like them. And so anyway, I'm going to start off with a pentatonic major lick over the A chord. That's going to bring us right down to that second A chord. And I'm going to add some chromatic notes. And that brings us down here. And I'm going to play something over the pentatonic minor box. And again, I'll use some chromatic notes in there. And then I'm going to kind of try walking up with a pentatonic major over to our D/C shape. And then once we get to the octave version where we started, we went major, minor, major, and we'll go back down with a minor. I'll add a pedal steel lick and some pull-off licks. And then I'll end with a banjo roll. And I'll explain that and do it a little slower for you, but here's basically how the lick would sound.
Ho! That's hot. That's hot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If I in my Elvis voice, thank you very much. So what I'm doing here is I'll play it slow for you. Playing a couple of multiple notes. The great thing about pentatonic minor is that you can grab multiple notes. And then once we're back here, I'll go minor back down. Banjo, pedal steel lick. Some open notes. A lot of rock players kind of forget you got some great open notes that sound real fiery in certain keys. And then I'm going to do sort of a banjo roll.
Now, what's happening with your right hand on that?
With the right hand, well, if you can get a close up. So again, that's a great example of how I'm using kind of a combination of the fingers and the pick to, give me a lot of different, be able to grab a lot of things at one time. So we got different things. The great thing, the trick sort of with chicken picking is you're using your fingers and the pick to grab multiple strings, and you're also with your left hand you're doing multiple things. I.e., for example, this lick, I'm holding these two notes, the E and the A, stationary, but I'm pulling the B up to C sharp. So it creates a pedal steel. And that kind of stuff, can take some practice to get, but once you get it, you can do those bends. The trick, I think, or the key with those kind of bends really is to make sure they're in pitch. You know, that's really the main thing. You know, and you can use some even fairly simple licks, just this lick. You know, once you kind of sort of master that technique, it can sound real cool in the middle of a solo. You know.
So you're just grabbing that with your middle finger?
Yeah. Yeah. Or something like that, whatever I did.
That was awesome.
So.
That was awesome.
So it's just a combination of things, chromatic notes. To start with, pentatonic major, pentatonic minor. I'm not a real fancy player. I'm not really into jazz and a lot of diminished and augmented and, you know, outside kind of licks. They just sound a little weird to me anyway. I'm just kind of a basic pentatonic major, pentatonic minor, rock and country, R&B kind of player. And, you know, I'll add stuff like chromatic notes in there to spice it up. Pull-off notes, you know, don't forget about the open notes. That works real well in open keys. You can use a lot of open licks in G, in A, in D, you know, and in E. You know, a lot of great open notes that I think we tend to forget about. Little banjo licks. I do play banjo and pedal steel, so that kind of gives me a little advantage to know how those instruments should sound. But pedal steel, you know, banjo. Some people do it. You know, and you can pull off and do all sorts of weird stuff like that to add to it. So, you know, it's really about taking some basic scales and stuff and really spicing it up. It's kind of like cooking chili. You got to figure out how to put just the right amount of spice without overdoing it. You know, we like a little flash. We're guitar players, and we can say it's about serving the song. But at the end of the day, we want a little bit of flash in our playing too.
You just took pentatonic scales and shredded them all the way up the neck. You took it from
with no distortion.
All the way to here. It was clean. It's got to be clean. I mean, even if you're playing with distortion, you got to play clean.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's harder to play with no distortion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is for sure. So give me a couple of those real slow again. Okay. Can you break them off into each section?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I played the first time. Something along those lines.
That's a lot.
I may never play it the exact same way twice. But that's the beauty of feel. You know, I think that's what really, you know, where we really start putting our own signature on things is the way we phrase. You know, I may play a lick differently every time, but I'm gonna phrase it in a way that sounds like me.
Heck yeah.
So.